So the best opinion, the better of the two opinion was that of Umar. Allah Ta'ala said in the Quran, وَمَا كَانَ لِلنَّبِيِّ أَن يَكُونَ لَهُ أَسْرَى حَتَّى يُثْخِنَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. It is not right for a prophet to take captives until he intensifies killing on the land, until he makes the earth warm with blood, until he completely subdues the land. So if you are fighting a country, for example France, and you capture Paris, you cannot take captives. You have to kill everyone, because if you set them free, they are going to join up with their Kafir brothers in Marseille and come back and make a counter-offensive. You cannot take captives until you completely capture the land. So when the Prophet took captives and set them free, it was a mistake because they were boiling with revenge, so they came back the other year at Uhud, and so they took revenge. Now this great battle of the Battle of Badr was the first battle between Islam and Kufr, and so the Muslims, they won a decisive victory. Quraysh was born up with revenge, so they returned the following year with 3,000 Kafirs strong, and they gathered all their forces and allies, and the Muslims were 1,000. When they were marching to the battlefield, the Prophet saw some people who he did not know. He said, "Who are these people?" Abdullah ibn Ubay said, "They are Jews, and they are my allies. They are coming to help us fight this battle." The Prophet said, "Get back. I do not seek help from pagans to fight pagans." The Jews believed that Allah had a son called Uzair. So the Prophet said, "The Jews are pagans, and I do not seek help from pagans to fight pagans." When Abdullah ibn Ubay saw this, he said, "You insulted me." So he broke away from the army of the Muslims, and he took 300 people away with him. So the Muslims were left with only 700 men to fight 3,000 Kafirs. A fierce battle erupted at Uhud, and the Muslims, even though they were only 700, they were beating the Kafirs. The Kafirs had to run away from the battlefield. There was a special hill, a very strategic hill. The Prophet put 50 of his archers there to protect the hill, and told them, "Do not leave this hill until I tell you to do so." When the Kafirs lost the first phase at Uhud and they ran away from the battlefield, the 50 archers dashed down from the hill and they disobeyed the Prophet, and so Khalid ibn Walid and Abu Sufyan signaled to each other and sandwiched the Muslims, and so they inflicted a humiliating defeat on the Muslims in the second phase of the battle. So this battle of Uhud had two phases, the first and the second. The Muslims won the first, and the Kafirs won the second phase of the battle. This great battle of Uhud is a lesson for us, that even though your Lord is Al-Haq, Allah, and your book, the Holy Quran, is the truth, and your Prophet Mohammad was a true prophet, you will never be successful until you obey the Prophet. This is the lesson we learned from the battle of Uhud. I pray Allah Ta'ala that we will benefit greatly from these glimpses in the life of the Prophet ﷺ, and I pray Allah Ta'ala that we will have the Iman to implement what we learned here in order to be successful in this life and in the hereafter.